Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the Never Settle podcast. He is seven-time NASCAR Cup Series champion, Jimmie Kenneth Johnson. I'm Marty Smith from ESPN, and we're doing this virtually this week for a couple of reasons. Number one is streamlining. Number two is we have a very different show. Jimmie is heading to Bardstown, Kentucky, midweek. Why, Johnson?
Good to see everybody. Glad everybody's tuned in and listening. I get to take the show on the road. Sadly, Marty has had something pop up, which he'll explain here in a bit. But our plan is to take the show on the road, go to Bardstown. The bourbon that I'm involved with, named Frank August, is getting ready to bottle case study number 6. And there are a lot of interesting and cool details in and around this bottling. It's something that I've always wanted to participate in, and when Jonathan Crocker informed me it was taking place, it's on a Wednesday that I can make work. Put together a pretty neat group of friends to join. Unfortunately, Martin's been called off to work elsewhere, but it's going to be a fun day, a really neat day. We'll have Jonathan on to talk about Frank August, to talk about bourbon, to talk about Kentucky and a variety of other projects he has going on in the area, and should be a really fun day.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear your interview with him. And again, for those of you who may not have seen our episode a couple weeks ago, on the day our day after, I guess, it was announced that Frank August won the Best Bourbon Award at the International Spirits Competition. I don't know if I just got that right or not. It was international.
You got it way closer than I would have.
Something nice or job. Other. You know, big-ass deal. A super big deal for a boutique.
World Championship.
For a, that's something you know about. For a boutique type of bourbon offering to go into a competition like that against all the big liquor behemoths and come out victorious is just amazing. And I'm proud of Jimmie because his investment worked. Way to go, buddy. It's always nice when our investments pay off.
Yeah, there is that element, but the brand, the individuals behind the brand, their intentionality, how damn good the juice is. There are all these layers that are far more prideful than the investment component. And the intentionality of the small run that we've had, we're only in, I think, 13 or 14 states right now, a very controlled and intentional rollout. I'm really proud of who and what Frank August is and will become. So it's been a lot of fun.
You guys should try it. Do you? I'm putting you on the spot. Do you know what states it's currently in?
Yes, roughly. I can say that I do all of my ordering. It's not sold in North Carolina yet. So I go through a group called Wooden Cork, and they're based in California of all places. And their shipping works well, and bottles show up on time and in a really nice wrapping situation so that they don't bust in transit and such. So that's kind of been my go-to method. And yes, I'm paying for the juice. It is that hard to get a hold of, that limited, that small. I'm going through retail outlets as well.
If I would have known that, I might not have been consuming so much during our podcast down at the warehouse, man. But
hey, it's all good.
It's delicious. I mean, you put that Frank August rye on a big cube, and buddy, you're going sailing. It's delicious, and I'm just really proud of you. And I've not yet had the blessing of meeting Jonathan, but I can't wait to hear your conversation with him as a bourbon nerd. I just got a new bottle too. I'm not going to say the brand yet. Once I sample it, it came from a great friend, and there's a great story behind why he sent it to me. It was sent to me as I left my toiletries at his house, and fortunately, it made its way to the lake via the United States Mail Service. So thrilled! I can't wait to sample that. I'll probably do that next Saturday. But quickly, the reason why I can't go to Bardstown, I'm super bummed. It's that unique juxtaposition between bummed that I'm going to miss out on this fellowship with you and so many of our friends, and meeting Jonathan and sampling all the good Lord's juice, but also the wonderful blessing that I have at ESPN to be a storyteller on big platforms. I'm going both to Williamsport, Pennsylvania and to Buffalo, New York to tell stories both in college football and the NFL. So then I'll head over to Missouri for SEC Nation and Marty and McGee as Jamie Tish's Alabama Crimson Tide invade Columbia, Missouri.
Great name drop.
In a battle of top 20 teams. It'll be a great one, man. But before we get to you in Bardstown, we have some new merch, and I want you to show off our new hat. Look at that thing, guys. All right, so the logo on our new trucker hat there
here we go.
Is Johnson driving a motorized bar stool.
Yeah, I found these bar stools on my way into Indy for my first Brickyard 400. And I was like, man, I need 2 of those. So they shipped them to my place. This is what, 02, 03, somewhere in there? Us monkeying around. 04?
I think it's 04. And I think the only reason I know it's 04 is you won't remember this, but I can even tell you the context of the photograph. So Jimmie, on a whim, all of us were home because the NASCAR season had ended. And Jimmie and Shanny, when they used to live at Lake Norman many, many moons ago, invited a handful of friends over to their house for the AFC and NFC Championship Sunday so we could watch some football and grill out and drink some bourbon and have a good time. And you can see we had a very good time. So when we had been overserved a little bit, we decided let's just go screw off. And so I don't know whose idea it was.
I remember Blake Fees was in this.
He was in there.
Knaus was in this. You're sitting on a like a knee board or a boogie board.
Cooler lid. It's actually a cooler lid.
Even better. I was convinced the motorized bar stool could pull you through the leaves and the grass. And so we're getting ready to set off on this mission.
What people need to understand about those bar stools, first of all, is it is a miracle that none of us ended up in the emergency room. Because let me tell y'all, they went really fast, and the center of gravity is very high. And so if you got a little too aggressive around the corner, your ass was shot like a catapult off of that thing. I mean, broken collarbones, shoulders, separations. It's a miracle none of us
people they got it wrong.
Wound up on the other side of the dirt racing those things. But
yes.
I'm in I'm not really sure what was going on here in terms of the fashion statement. I have on a maroon pair of parachute pants. I have on some brown, I don't even know what the hell those shoes are, but I'm wearing.
Yeah, I know we put a life jacket on you.
A life jacket.
Close to the water. We were afraid I was going to get you on the whip and throw you into the drink.
What you guys can't see there is my wife, Lainey, managed to be able to Photoshop out my middle finger because
that's right.
I'm definitely telling the world they're number one in that photograph, but because we disseminated it publicly, we decided it best to Photoshop out my "You're the best in the world" single-digit salute. So y'all can. I don't even know where we can get it.
I don't even think it's available yet.
That's a prototype.
Just had this stuff made for us to see what we thought. You and I just get excited about this stuff. So we'll figure it out. We'll send something out on our socials and maybe get like a pre-order going or get some inventory in-house. But we have a few different hats that this was printed on, a couple of T-shirts, and more to come for sure.
Well, super. I can't wait to get one. I mean, I don't have one yet. You might have the only one. That might be the
Did you
prototype.
Notice my stand? What's holding it up?
I was going to ask you about him later in the Ask Jimmie segment at the end. At the end of the show, we're definitely going to discuss Blaze. The anniversary of his passing was just a couple of days ago. One of Jimmie's best friends and someone that to this day he honors on his race car. We'll get to that and funny stories about Blaze coming up here later in the show. But first, let's discuss Clear High, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. So thankful for them. They made an investment in us before anybody did. And we're right in the middle here of deer season. They have everything you want. I love bow hunting, but they have everything you need if you're a fisherman They have every lure, every rod, everything you could want. Lake Norman is right over there. And there are some 5-6 pound bass off of my dock that I chase all the time. I've only captured one of them ever. I fish out there all the time, and they always win, those little SOBs. But go to Academy Sports and Outdoors. They have everything you need. Back to school. All our kids are back in school now. They have backpacks and sneakers and hoodies. All the holidays are coming up. You can get everything you need for your kids for Christmas at Academy. Laney and I live there in the holiday season, so go check them out. All right, Johnson, what is your clear high of the week, good sir?
Parents' Week. I was able to actually see Evie for the first time, give her the biggest hug ever in 3 weeks. So that was definitely my clear high. The whole
What
family
about
got
the
Lydia
response
went.
to her
It was
appearance on Never Settle, man?
incredible. I'm still hearing people speak of it. I was just on a call. I'm here at Legacy Motorsports at the race shop, Legacy Motor Club, and was just on a call where someone that I wouldn't expect that would watch the podcast or comment on this engaged. So and talked about how it made him tear up hearing us talk. So you got me well. You got me really well that day. Thank you.
Well, look, the grace and beauty with which she carries herself, that thank the good Lord comes from Mama,
Yes, sir.
was just a beautiful thing to see. And for me, it was so fulfilling because I was waiting that whole 24 hours to see your face when she popped up, and it was exactly what I'd hoped it would be. It was this beautiful meld, this cornucopia of pride and love and humility and shock to a degree. And so
Shock for sure.
just really, really, really fun to see you in that moment and in that light. And I know it was because on Instagram, that thing went crazy, dude. So many beautiful
Wild.
responses about her and her beauty and the grace with which she spoke. So thank you, Evie, for giving us your time. And I'm so glad you got to see her and love her up. And what a beautiful clear high. Yeah, for me, it was interesting because there's a football coach in college at the University of Florida. His name's Billy Napier. And Billy is from the Nick Saban coaching tree, and he's been someone I've admired for a long, long time. And he's had a rough go at Florida. Going into Saturday, he was 20-22 overall as the head coach in Gainesville. And people are calling for his job. His seat's really, really hot. It was really, really hot last year, too, at this time. And he managed to put together a tremendous end of the season and keep that job. Very high expectations entering 2025 because his quarterback, DJ Lagway, is incredible. Well, they've started very slow, 1-3, and people are hollering for Billy's job. Well, during Marty McGee on Saturday, a lot of people, when I introduced and promoted that Billy was going to be on the show with Ryan and me, booed behind me. And I turned to them and I'm like, what are y'all booing for? What are y'all booing for? This is a fantastic coach and a hell of a great man. And social media went crazy and people were coming after me pretty good. And I understand the facts of the job are you got to win or you're gone. That's the SEC. It's big-time college football, period.
Yeah.
But certainly in the Southeastern Conference. And so they went out there and hit Texas in the mouth. And just to see the humility that Billy had after the game, that his young men are still playing that hard for him in this moment of uncertainty, was awesome to witness. And it was a lesson for me. It was a lesson that when you're able to impact other people on a human condition level, and they're willing to give their all for you as a result of your investment in them, it's a wonderful thing to witness, man. And it's something that you're living right now, real time. Because you've taken this team that has been an underachiever, and you've made substantial changes and alterations, and the proof is in the performance. The team's running, but there's been some bad luck lately. There's been some bad luck for the 42 and the 43. But the
Some
speed,
self-inflicted,
yeah,
but
some self-inflicted. Same as football.
yeah.
I mean, same as football. A couple weeks ago against South Florida, the Gators lost at home to South Florida. South Florida's a good football team, but that shouldn't happen. And a young man had a moment of impulsive reaction and spit in another player's face. And it was detrimental to them winning that game. They lost that game. And so self-inflicted. But the growth is hope. Sports at its core is hope. And so that was neat to see that moment for Billy. But really cool and grateful to have been down in Gainesville. Their fans are awesome. They showed out for us, and that's always fun and gives us juice too in what we're trying to do. So with that, we'll head to Bardstown, Kentucky.
It will be fun. We're going to miss you, pal.
I'm so bummed out.
We'll go again. Don't you worry. We'll do it again. We'll reload.
Welcome in, everyone, and welcome to the aging boy band that is us three idiots. We're just missing an idiot with Marty, and Marty, we wish that you were here, but we're in Bardstown, Kentucky. We've had an incredible day. We started the day at Frank August. Actually, I should say we started the day at Bardstown Distillery, watching the Case Study 6 be bottled, which is part of Frank August. This is Jonathan Crocker, great friend and founder. What is that the correct word?
Co-founder, CEO
of Frank August, and Dario Franchitti, that has where do I start? Chased a few trophies in various forms of racing over the years.
They've chased more than a few. Yeah, chased you occasionally.
Chased me.
Teammates?
Was my driver coach as I ventured into the IndyCar world.
Yes, I was.
So actually, I just realized I have an out to my poor performance in IndyCar.
It's my fault.
It was your fault.
Yeah,
Coaching.
It's gone okay for that Pillow kid, though, from Spain.
That kid.
And the other one, Scott Dixon, he's done okay.
Luckily, he's older than... You know what really pisses me off is Alex, when he asked me my age, that first test that we went to,
I remember it well.
I gave him my age and he said, wow, you're older than my dad.
Yeah, and you are younger than me, so... But you were his teammate, and racing driver years are like dog years, aren't they?
That's fair.
And I am retired, and you sort of semi...
I'm still at it. And now you just mentioned the word retired, but we can't give away too much, but you may come out of retirement.
Well, we may have something cooking, right?
I love this.
We're up
I
to
love
something.
This. I can't wait to share more.
We're up to something which we will sort of, what's the word, announce at the correct
time.
Yeah, but yeah, I've been in the gym.
Jonathan, he's getting serious. If this man is in the gym, it's getting serious.
It's a telltale sign. Yeah.
It's a sign. Yeah, ready to go.
That's exciting.
On the podcast, we have been consuming vast quantities of Frank August.
That's good to hear.
Fans have noticed that it's on my helmet, and through my social, there's the touch point.
Yeah.
But I'd just love for you to share as much as you can and kind of paint the picture of Frank August and the journey you have been on through your life. And I think what's important to help share is, one, your journey before Frank August.
Right.
Two, your influence and impact and legacy, because I think a lot of our fans will have an aha moment.
Right.
And then three, where we sit today.
Yeah.
Can I put in a fourth?
Yes, please.
How you guys met? I want to.
So that's a good starting point. So we met through Frank August. So when me and my two business partners kind of decided to pursue this fanciful idea of starting our own whiskey company, we toyed around the idea for about 6 or 7 years. And then when COVID hit, it afforded us the opportunity to finally explore it in a more serious way. And once we started to do that, we started to kind of look at what a potential group of investors could be to really kind of bring this to life. And one of my business partners' wife works at the Gagosian and is friends with Shani. And it was actually, though, Ivan Shaw who made the introduction. So Ivan Shaw is the photo director of Vogue. And when we were talking to Ivan about the idea and kind of presenting the concept of Frank August at that time, he had said, he's like, do you know Jimmie Johnson? And I said, I know of him, I don't know him. And he said, would you be interested in presenting this to Jimmie? I know that him and Shani are big kind of cocktail spirits fans, and I know Jimmie is a big bourbon fan. And I said, yeah, of course, I would love to. So when that was coordinated and set up, I was fully expecting, we had set up a FaceTime, that the FaceTime was going to be with like, eventually like Michael Bill. You know, that's who I was expecting. So when I logged on and it was just Jimmie, I was definitely surprised. But that was our introduction through Frank August.
Before we turned the cameras on, I was sharing the story how we met. And Ivan was at our home, and through Shani's gallery had, I'm trying to remember the individual's name, but he, through the Vogue experience and all the photos that they had access to and the individuals behind it, Shani was showcasing those books in her store.
Oh, really?
And Ivan was in our home. I was pouring a glass of bourbon, and I could see the light bulb turn on in his head. He's like, you like bourbon? I was like, yeah.
I would just like
I
to
have
point
somebody
out,
you need to meet.
he went to Scotland and we were sitting in a bar, Scott Dixon, myself, JJ and our wives, and he ordered bourbon in Scotland. He's
That's
a brave man.
True testament.
Yeah.
True testament.
They had it. The bar was called the American Bar.
That
a
is
safe-
At
true.
Glen Eagles,
Safe
in
place to
Scotland.
order it.
but I was.
I don't know.
The looks suggested I should try some local.
Mostly
Yeah.
for
Local
me.
juice.
But yeah, that was our introduction. And you know, as it relates to the brand, you know, the name represents the story that we want to tell in bourbon. So there is no Frank August. Frank is inspired by one of my business partner's late father. August is inspired by my other business partner's son's middle name. So Frank representing our past, understanding our heritage, where we've come from, where we've been, and August representing all our future ideals, aspirations, and just the idea of looking forward. Because traditionally, in the world of American whiskey, there's primarily one story, one strict narrative told over and over again. And if you didn't subscribe to that, you weren't considered real, you weren't authentic, and you weren't bourbon. And as we all know, or most of us know, that story has always been a story of legacy and origin. So that's why we see so many brand stories about some grandpappy's family recipe passed on from generation to generation, or a distillery that's been revitalized after 100 years, or this is the name of a bootlegger that made moonshine in these Kentucky hills all these years ago, so on and so forth. And we're not saying anything disparaging against those stories, but they've become so ubiquitous that it's kind of homogenized the category of American whiskey as a whole. So walk into your favorite bottle shop, walk into the bourbon aisle, close your eyes, randomly reach out for 2 bottles, pull them back, chances are it's the same story. Just repackaged, repurposed, regurgitated another way. So for us, we felt like the last thing the industry needed was a version of itself that exists 100 times over. So the solution, for lack of a better description, was to create a reconsideration around America's spirit, a kind of modern expression of what it meant to be bourbon, how it looks, how it behaves, how it acts. So that's what we set out to create. So we wanted the liquid itself to be the heritage and history, so that's why it's always Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey from some of the finest distilling partners we could work with. But beyond that, we wanted every other touch point, every other expression of the brand to behave and operate differently. So hence the very minimal understated bottle design. So that's the kind of quick background of Frank.
And how it tastes.
And of course,
exquisite.
how it tastes.
It's exquisite.
So good.
Yeah.
So the journey, what was really fun for me is to meet Jonathan, to meet his partners, incredible humans. Their journey in life and creation and their creative, you know, all three have their own creative elements. The vision, and then my commitment to invest in a company before we ever had juice. Nothing.
Just a concept.
Just a
Literally just
concept.
an idea. Nothing else. Yeah.
The first time a bottle showed up at the house, I'm like, oh my gosh, this has been years in the making. This
Yeah.
is great, right?
How's it taste? It smells okay.
And then to experience the juice, to watch the the smart and calculated approach to the space. And of course, bourbon is hot, and there's been so much growth in the space itself. Like, how are you able to stay patient with a brand that has had incredible success? What we're looking at here in front of us, and the gold label distinguishes our case study offerings. They've all been incredible. This is case study 6 that's in front of us. Case study 4 and 5 have both had, awards put upon them.
Right.
That would then, especially 4 that was in 2024, would signal mass production, let's go.
Yep.
Now, case study 5, same thing. I'm assuming case study 6, which we're enjoying, is going to experience the same
Hopefully.
same thing. Like the patience you have for the brand is mind-boggling to me. I don't know how you have this.
I think we've seen a lot of predecessors come before us that have found similar early success, and they chased it hard and chased it fast from a business standpoint. And what I mean by that is like trying to scale and grow the business accordingly. And I feel a lot of them, in doing so, had lost a lot of what made those brands so special. So me on the outside looking in, from the beginning, I wanted to take a much more measured, considered approach in how we grow and scale Frank. So right now we're in, I think, 17 states, but there sincerely isn't a state that hasn't reached out to say, you know, how do we get Frank August in Illinois or Georgia or North Carolina?
North Carolina, yeah.
And it's been an exercise of restraint and saying, thank you so much. We can't wait to get to your state. We're just not ready yet. So I've wanted to make sure that we establish a great foundation in the markets that we're in, and we're able to satisfy those accounts and those customers before we kind of move forward. And I think that's a big reason why we've been able to weather the storm. As much as bourbon has been hot, the last 18 to 24 months have been some of the toughest in the last 50 years of the industry.
Wow.
So there was this huge period of COVID, post-COVID. Everybody was investing in their home bars and buying bottles 3, 4, 5 at a time on an incredibly regular basis. And that's pretty much come to a screeching halt. So with that, I feel like customers today are that much more measured and considered with their purchases. So if they're going to make a purchase, it really needs to check a lot of boxes. So for us, we've maintained our price point, yet our quality is improved. We continue to put out great product. And when I say that, by no means do I think we've arrived or we've made it. Far from it. We've got a tremendous amount of work ahead of us. But I think that kind of slow and steady kind of focus and measured and considered in how we grow has helped us weather this storm, and I think it will help us get to the other side of this.
What does success look like? What's the sort of the numbers you want to produce?
That's a good question. I think this is not a cop-out. Like I generally don't measure success by that at this point in time. For me, it's about how we can continue to create as much long-term value in the brand as we possibly can. So the decisions that I've tried to make in steering the company have been all kind of filtered through that. Does X create long-term value in the brand? And that's, going back to the scaling. Like, could we open in 15 markets right now and triple our business, double our business? Easily. I don't think that's in the best long-term interest of the brand. So it's been kind of figuring out what that looks like. But to answer your question, success, I think, is continuing to evolve and grow, obviously, the brand, but in doing so, are we creating conversations around Frank August that extend beyond the bourbon itself? So of course, I want to sell as many cases of bourbon and whiskey as we possibly can, but our belief from the beginning has been, if we can create a conversation that extends beyond just the bourbon itself, maybe we have the opportunity to tap into culture. And if you have the opportunity to tap into culture, maybe you have something really special in what you're able to create. And that's what we're trying to achieve. It's a big goal, but how do we make Frank August part of that cultural conversation? So that's part of what we've been endeavoring to do.
Sure. Well, one thing that stood out to me, and I'm not sure if it's the same in other spirits, tequila, the world of tequila, vodka, whatever it might be, but your path and connection to Kentucky and to the distillers. I mean, all the facets of what leads to a product in a bottle.
Yeah.
Is that normal?
No, I mean, obviously, I have zero background and experience within the spirit space outside of just being an avid consumer for many years. Fortunately, a good friend going on for 15, 16 years now is Drew Colesveen. He's the master distiller of Willet, and whose family owns Willet. So one of the most storied, revered American whiskey brands, which is here in Bardstown. Drew himself is I think 5 times James Beard nominated Master Distiller of the Year. So a good friend to have. If you're
he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first started to kind of think about pursuing this more seriously, he was the first call that I put a call into. And his first words to me were, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I said, "No, I have no idea if I want to do this."
Well, that's reassuring.
Yeah, you're just the only person that I know does this professionally. That's why you're getting my call. But he was incredibly supportive, and he said, "No, I'd love to see your take on bourbon. If there's anything I can do to help and support, I'm here for you." And while he's been a great friend and supporter, the two main questions I had for him at the time were, if you didn't have Willet and you were starting a brand today, who would you want your distilling partners to be? And two, we're going to need a good attorney. Do you have any recommendations? So two important questions in starting a spirits company: good whiskey, good legal representation. And that's actually how I ended up meeting Chad. And when he had first kind of talked about the different attorneys that he and the brand work with, he had shared that they work with 4 or 5 different attorneys based on the business needs. And I politely reminded Drew that this was just a concept at this point. We would need one fine attorney. And that's when he mentioned, he's like, actually, we've got a good family friend who we do a lot of business with. I think the two of you would get along well. And then he casually mentions he's also the majority whip in the Kentucky State Legislature and who's been drafting all the legislation in and around the bourbon industry. To which I kind of just laughed on the other end because I'm like, that sounds amazing, but one, sounds wildly expensive, and two, why would a good old Kentucky boy want to work with a guy from LA and 2 guys from New York? But he said, just take the meeting. Chad will take the meeting. So obviously I took the meeting, and in the last 5 years now, besides my wife, there's no one I speak to more on a regular basis. He and his family have turned into dear friends, and that's led to other projects and opportunities. Yeah.
That's the thing that stands out to me the most. Yes, you've had a vision here, but it's your life. I mean, there's a lifestyle component to this that it's more than just an opportunity to, build a brand and try to move products.
Yeah.
And I think I believe in the bourbon world, people that are trying to fake their way through it aren't going to make it. I mean, it's such a crowded space now, and the authenticity. Chad, I can't remember Chad's last name.
McCoy.
Chad McCoy, their family, the project that you guys are working on in addition to, the layers that it really takes, that are required to succeed in the bourbon space here in Kentucky. Like, this is more than just, this is
their lives. I mean, to me,
the
people we met today, it was everybody's. It wasn't just this is a job. This was their life. This was everything.
Passion, interest. Yeah,
it was everything, and it was like, the whole family lives it.
Yeah.
Whether that's the family involved today or the family, the people that were working with them, it's incredible. It was really
so
incredible.
I think, regardless of industry or discipline, I think brands need to be able to answer the question authoritatively and explicitly, why do you deserve to exist? Right? And I think there's too many brands, again, regardless of industry or discipline, that just have an idea and want to enter a space and think that's good enough. But if you're really pressed to say, well, for example, entering the American whiskey space, why does Frank August deserve to exist? I can't say because we want to make world-class whiskey. Like, that's your baseline. Like, anybody entering this space, like, that's the standard that you have. But what is it that gives you a reason, or gives customers a reason to say, this is a brand that I want to gravitate towards to something else? And I feel like it's true in anything, even within the world of NASCAR.
Yeah.
Why does Legacy Motor Club deserve to exist? And figuring out how you answer that question, you tell that story, I think is everything in building brands and giving them relevancy.
So through that bottle and the relationship that we built and my transition into ownership, this is who I turned to and was sharing my passion and desire about building a race team and what it needs to be and how it can be different. And Jonathan is the one that I turned to, and we created Legacy Motor Club.
Yeah.
It was your idea?
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
I thought he came up with it. He told me he came up with it.
Of course I'm going to steal the glory. No. Why not?
So what's funny is I woke up to a text one day from Jimmie just saying, let me know if you've got time to jump on a call.
What time was this in the morning?
Early. I'm in LA. He got up early, East Coast time.
He always gets up early.
Yeah. Early
I hate
riser.
that about myself.
So I end up connecting with him at some point, and Jimmie proceeds to start telling me about the charter system of NASCAR. I'm a sports enthusiast, so after about 10 minutes, I'm thinking like, okay, this is fascinating, Like, this is interesting, but I'm not sure what this has to do with me. So after about 10 or 15 minutes, I basically said, I'm like, this sounds amazing. Help me understand.
What
like,
are you asking?
What can I, what do you need?
How can I help?
And that's when he had said that he was going to be coming in as a co-owner at the time with Petty GMS and looking to kind of rebrand the team, and asked me if I'd be interested in it. And I was like, rebrand a professional sports team? Yes, of course. But then that was quickly followed up with him saying, there's a little bit of a catch. We've got a short period of time where we need to do this. And
Very short.
it was,
The typical Jimmie
what was it?
conversation.
Yeah, I think I announced my involvement with the team at the season finale
yeah, in Phoenix.
in Phoenix in November.
Yeah.
And then, February is right around the corner.
Yeah. So he was like, can we do
typically,
this
how
in
do
a
you,
few
how do you
months?
develop a brand?
Well, yeah, so he said, do you think we can do this in 2 or 3 months? And I laughed. I was like, no, like, rebranding anything, let alone a professional sports team, I'm like, a pretty quick abbreviated time would be like a year.
Jimmie's
you
like,
set
okay,
up-
yeah, but how can we do it?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's throw
So-
some caffeine on this and
Yeah,
go.
he loves the word no, right?
Yeah, 100%. So I'm like, give me 48 hours. Let me see if anything kind of comes to mind, and if it does, I would absolutely love to work with you on this. But if I don't, I don't want to waste your time, and I know what you need. So went back, started thinking about just the dynamics of how the club was structured at the time with Richard Petty, obviously Jimmie, and just the storied legacy that they bring to the sport and what they represent. 2 7-time, NASCAR Cup champions. And the kind of immediate word that came to mind was legacy immediately. But honestly, I did not like the word, because for me, legacy seems to represent something rooted in the past.
That's exactly
Right?
what I was, yeah.
Something
Right.
that once was, that
Yeah.
was done. So I just kind of like immediately kind of pushed it off, started thinking about it. And then I kind of abandoned that for a minute. And then I started thinking about from a sport organizational standpoint and looking at other professional leagues, if you will, or organizations across the world. And I started looking at European football and looking at clubs. And I just love the idea of club and what that meant. And I thought, I wonder if there's any motor clubs in motorsports, and discovered that there really wasn't. And I was incredibly surprised by that. So the actual first area was really developing the concept around creating the first motor club within NASCAR, the first MC, and kind of building a story around that. And while, of course, the individual drivers are the focus, I still loved what F1 brings to motorsports in terms of that team component, right? So you can be a Verstappen fan or a Hamilton fan, but you're still, team Ferrari or Red Bull or whatever. it might be.
McLaren, whatever it is.
So I thought there could be value in establishing that. So that was the first thing, and the concept that I kind of presented to Jimmie of like this idea of creating the first ever motor club. And then with that, kind of going back of like, all right, what does that look like in terms of branding with the name? And I kept going back to legacy, but I was kind of fighting it. Even when I first presented it to Jimmie, I presented it almost kind of reluctantly of like, here's kind of where my headspace is, but shared the same reservations that I think we all inherently had.
Yeah.
But
It's
ultimately,
a great conversation.
Yeah.
Around, feels past tense, and I'll never forget. You're like, you want to create a conversation around a brand.
right.
And that just opened my mind to where the legacy piece, not only are we honoring, what the foundational members bring, but folks can build their own legacy with us.
Exactly. I love the history of the sport, of motorsport in general. I love it, whether it's IndyCar, Formula One, NASCAR, sports car. I love the history component of it. I'm a firm believer that today's sport, and even tomorrow's, is built on yesterday's
Yep.
heroes, the stories that were told. And so I love that fact of honouring the past. But as we know, racing is about tomorrow.
Absolutely.
It's about the next race, isn't it? But there's always nice to get
So
to
to
remember
me,
where it
the
came from.
interest shift in motorsports and how many people are interested in
Yep.
watching and trying to experience it. The motor club piece, motor clubs were really popular in the 60s, 70s, 80s, probably died off in the 80s, but the ability to kind of reinvent that in Jonathan's vision and understanding of the gaps that we're missing resonated with me. And at the time where we were as a company, it was tough to really focus on competition and build out this piece. And over the last few years, we're shoring up competition. And now, as we look at 26 and beyond, we can really lean into the broader vision of what the club can be.
Yeah, and I think looking at legacy, where we kind of finally arrived on it, and at least like that kind of process that I went through is, if you really kind of break down legacy, and if it truly is something that we leave behind, what we leave behind is defined by what we do today. So all of a sudden, instead of it being this dormant thing that lives in the past, it becomes very active and living today. So you're defining and making your legacy today. So that's where there was that kind of paradigm shift, and that's where, when I was presenting it to Jimmie, I'm like, I know our immediate headspace is going to go to the past, but if we reposition this and we make legacy about what we do today, then it's something that's active and living. And so that's, to me, that was the ethos, that was the essence of what Legacy Motor Club is. Because obviously what Jimmie was wanting to do coming on is, how do we evolve, elevate, and grow and push the sport forward?
Mm-hmm. I like, as a fan, and I mean this as a racing fan, not as your buddy, whatever, I like the fact it's different. It's a different way of thinking about it. And when you introduced me to the idea, I went, yeah. It's not same, not JJR.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's
putting my name on
different.
this would be the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
But it'd be the easiest.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
I mean, I mentioned to Jimmie pretty early on, and then having the opportunity to meet Steve and talk to him, I've always loved the idea of one day, I know it's probably not going to ever happen, but all teams in NASCAR becoming MCs, and that every team is a motor club within NASCAR, and kind of helping really indirectly kind of rebrand the sport as a whole in some way, and give it a little bit more of a set identity. Obviously, a little bit selfish in terms of like thinking, but I think there's value in doing something like that within the sport.
And when you think of clubs, teams here, as we call it, clubs across the pond, there is some relevance to that really could play.
Well, man, we went to that Birmingham City game.
Yeah. Yeah.
The passion at that.
Passion's incredible.
You got a Glasgow Celtic game. We watched hockey on TV last night.
Yep.
I mean, you guys, I'm a big motorsports fan, big F1 fan, obviously NASCAR and everything with what Jimmie's done. But to me, that's where I've always felt like where there's part of the missed opportunity with NASCAR as a sport is that club team component, right? Because it's possible.
The driver is the short term, and I can say this now as an ex-driver, but the driver is the short term focus, aren't they?
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you build that, right? How do you build that focus of, like, if you go to a NASCAR race, it's almost exclusively like driver focused, right? I'm with 42, I'm with 43, or whatever it is. And it's not saying to abandon that by any means, but how do you broaden that to see, like, not only am I that, but I am with like Legacy Motor Club. That is my club. That's my team. And I've just always been curious as a motorsport fan, and that it's rhetorical. What made that successful in F1? What have they done and continue to do? You're obviously, again, you're still individual driver fans, but you're almost equally still supporting the team.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some of that, isn't there? There's, in your past life, people being Hendrick fans or Joe Gibbs fans. At IndyCar, it was like Ganassi guy or a Penske guy. You see people and they are fans of one or the other, and then the driver. So it's definitely ripe for.
It's there.
Something
right?
he pointed out early on is you would see especially in Europe, you'll have a Formula One fan that's wearing maybe a team kit, but the driver they pull for, they have a hat.
True.
So there's a different brand. There's a way. Their fandom has multiple avenues to show up. It's really interesting to see, and it's just something we don't think about here. There's just a different way to do it, and Putting my name on the company would have been an easy play, but something I firmly believe in, and you opened this line of thought for me. This team and what we're trying to build, and my love of motorsport and the experience that's out there. You know, yes, our core product is going to the racetrack and winning races and championships, but I think there's damn near an equal importance to bringing people in, sharing the experience. There's a responsibility that we have in our fragile, system in motorsports to bring fans in, the fans that we have, to retain them, to show them an experience.
Show them more.
To show them more. Bring them behind the curtain, and there's an experiential piece that's missing. And that's why I'm so excited about our name, where we're going, the vision, and what we're slowly rolling out. I think our name and the Motor Club piece in time will make a lot more sense, and I think in 26, a lot of the offerings that will come out will start to resonate. But I think we're at a point in time, Jonathan, where you've put the seed in the ground, put water on it, and it's going to flourish. And I honestly think what we're trying to build is going to inspire racing in North America and hopefully globally, and just a different way to do it. And to share the experiences of what you and I have had as kids. We put a helmet on, although we're in our 50s, we put a helmet on, we're 15 again, or younger. And if we can have a fan show up to a track and be a part of an experience that a Legacy Motor Club can offer, or whoever it might be, and that inner kid comes out, we've won. I think that's kind of the goal that we're trying to achieve.
Yeah. Well, it's, you mentioned it, like, how do you create a conversation that extends beyond just the on-track experience and Saturdays and Sundays?
Yeah.
And there's an opportunity to do that. It's not easy. That's the reason why nobody really is doing it.
Right.
But it takes a very thoughtful, considered, intentional approach. And I mean, hats off to you for having the courage not to just name it after yourself, because that was the easy route.
Kind of cool though.
Nah, I don't like that. No. So your interests in creation, there are many facets. Like, what's the next thing for Jonathan Crocker? Like, where are we?
So, first and foremost, Frank is still the focus. It takes up the far majority of my time. There's obviously the other kind of bourbon project that we got to experience today.
It's so cool.
Private bourbon members club in the heart of the bourbon capital of the world. And then with that, the kind of second phase of that is a hospitality component. Think kind of a 5-star resort, here in Bardstown.
Which is crazy. I mean, you think of Napa and your opportunity to taste wine and have an experience. And the Bourbon Trail is complicated. It's tough to put a thing together.
But you go to Napa, you can stay in beautiful places. You can really, that's all there already. I have to say that the thing that impressed me today, the attention to detail of every piece of wood, was every stone.
I appreciate you appreciating
awesome.
that.
It was so awesome. I just kept saying to Jimmie, I'd hate to have the bill for this. That's my inner Scotsman coming out. But the workmanship, the craftsmanship, the men and women on that project, just what they're doing, wow.
And I talk to my partners throughout the process that people might not understand or appreciate it, but they're going to feel it when they come, And I think, you mentioned Napa. And my family lives in Napa now. If you went to the Valley 30 years ago, it was farmers. It was nothing like it is today. And it really was the hospitality component that started to evolve and grow the Valley to what it is today. So there was no Michelin-rated restaurants or James Beard, nominated chefs working, in the Valley at that time. And I'm not saying that Bardstown or the Bourbon Trail needs to become Napa, even though it's been referred to as the Napa of the South for a long time. But I think there are key learnings that we can glean from what Napa Valley has done so well here. Sure. And I think a lot of that rests within hospitality and really creating that kind of hospitality component.
One thing I have to commend you for is the kind of Easter egg reveal of today. Yeah. I've been sharing with everybody, we're on a Frank August adventure. And then to experience 1,000 Acres today, and and understanding, your focus in the bourbon world and how Frank August is consumer facing. And, I've been joking with our group internally, everybody's asking me, what's our goal at Legacy Motor Club? And I've been joking saying world domination. So I'm going to use that phrase.
I thought you weren't joking.
World domination with Frank August, consumer facing.
Right.
But then where your new project that is, more focused behind the scenes and member focused
Right.
bourbon experience, to see the layers today, as Dario pointed out. Hats off to you, man. It is freaking incredible what you're building.
No, I
and
appreciate it. We're
man,
glad
I wish
that you
Marty
guys got
was
to
here
come
to
on.
experience it all. We're
I
just
know.
going to tell him stories. Marty, this is your seat, buddy. You've missed out on so much.
Where
but
are you?
I think he had like a bigger, better deal somewhere.
Yeah.
These things happen.
Yeah.
MVP
Oh,
of
you
the
know what? In
NFL.
fact, maybe I should ring him.
Do you think you'll answer?
We've had this thing that we tried where we're going to FaceTime
See if he
roulette
answers.
people. Let's see if we can get Dirty South, as some of us like to call him.
Dirty.
He's one of the most southern people I've ever met. And I lived in Nashville. Well, I lived in Nashville for 15 years.
I can't believe you lived there that long.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You didn't notice with my accent?
Yeah. You didn't pick it up.
No.
Let's see.
It's actually my Scottish accent got stronger. Let's see if I think he watches on it.
It's funny that further north you go on that continent, the more southern the accent becomes.
Yeah.
It's backwards. He's too busy with Josh Allen.
Yeah.
He's just hit the. Oh, Marty Smith is unavailable.
Dario, thanks for joining in.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate you, pal.
That was fun.
Jonathan, thank you, brother.
Thank you.
I think this is
Thanks,
just the
man.
beginning.
Thank you for today.
No, absolutely.
Marty, thank you for big timing us. I wish you were here. Thanks for tuning in to Never Settle, and we'll see you guys soon.
So for you, what is the most fulfilling piece of being an investor and understanding what Crocker's trying to do?
I guess the patience required to really develop a brand. I've lived in this world of instant results and instant gratification. And in 2024, we won, I think maybe National Bourbon, or I don't know, we won an incredible award, triple blind taste test, and on and on. 25, we do it again. We go back to back years. After the first year, it's like, all right, let's move into higher volume. Let's go. Let's launch this thing. Let's get into more states. And it's like, no, we're on a great path. 2025, core product still jamming and right. We have success again. And there's just a real lesson in control that I'm appreciating. And I believe we're sitting on, an incredible brand, an incredible asset, incredible juice. And man, I'm like typical racer. I'm ready to go and punch it through. So that self-control is really impressive to me.
Well, it's amazing to see what you guys are doing, and I can't wait to get up there with you and learn. I just enjoy learning about bourbon. It's just such a unique thing, and the culture of it and the community that it provides is awesome. All right, before we get out of here, we haven't done this in a while. Let's ask Jimmie. Damon Reedy wants to know, when you watch a college football game, what's the most interesting piece of the experience for you?
For me, it has always been the energy, the connection between players and coach. There is an experience and an energy that college football has between coaches and players that isn't anywhere else. And it's something I've had great admiration for, and something that I acknowledged when I was a driver of the 48 car and wanted the 48 team to have that belief in one another. And I know television can only capture so much of it, but what I assume took place in the locker room, and what I was fortunate to see through various connections and through multiple opportunities through the University of Oklahoma to go inside the locker room and to see that environment with Coach Stoops and his players back in the day. That's what I wanted our race, well, the 48 team at Hendrick Motorsports to resemble. And that's what I'm trying to build into now. There's nothing else like it. It really isn't anything
I got to
else like
get
it.
you to a game with me. We one Saturday, you just need to come to whatever town I'm in for a big game.
I love it.
And we'll stand on the sideline, and
That is the stuff, man.
You can see the
that
speed.
Human element is the stuff.
To me, what separates college football from everything else, the college football experience, is the tradition, the pageantry, the band, the way it's passed down from generation to generation, the identity that so many towns across this country take from those athletic teams. That's so unique, because in Knoxville, Tennessee, and Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and Tallahassee, Florida, and Clemson, South Carolina, and Eugene, Oregon, and all over the place, the identity of those towns is the athletic program, and in so many cases, the football program. There's an identity that comes with that. Blacksburg, Virginia, where I'm from. I mean, for so many years, what Coach Beamer built was a very distinct pride for us, because when you grow up in Appalachia, like there's having something to really have pride in and hang your hat on, because I don't care where you're from in this country, you know where the hell Blacksburg, Virginia is. And it's because of the Virginia Tech Hokies. And that's just so cool. And
You want to know the only pro sport that I've been able to witness this similar to same energy in? It's a form of football, but it's English football. And my time in England has shown me this exact same thing. And it's the only pro sport I've spectated and have engaged with that has had anything close to college ball.
Yeah, again, they have all their
all those
chants,
reasons.
all their cheers, and it's ongoing, and it never stops. I mean, if you're at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee, you're going to hear Rocky Top 200 times. If you're in Bryant-Denny Stadium, when they play Sweet Home Alabama and they play Dixieland Delight, and you got 110,000 people singing at the top of their lungs, like, if that don't give you chills, man, I don't even know what I don't know how it possibly couldn't. And so it's just a beautiful energy and a beautiful pageantry, and that tradition is awesome. All right. Camden Aronowitz asked, when you're racing, do you ever decide how you'll race someone based on your personal relationship with them?
Personal relationship, not so much. No. How they raced me the week before, how they raced me the year before, there is an energy that instinctively comes about. And I guess as Jimmy Spencer said, he never forgets. And that statement and those elements are very true.
Yeah. You guys have, not only do you guys have long memories, you have eternal memories. Like, it'd be 20 years ago, and you'd be like, that son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Put me in a wall in Pocono. I owe him one. Michael Boyd asks, what's it like teaching your daughter how to drive?
Frightening. I would say challenging. I would say I didn't realize this, but me sitting in the seat next to her is intimidating. And so I have taken those three elements, have slowed my roll, and just stay calm, keep my voice down, start early with information to her, because she has some elements that she's still working on. I could see those moments coming. And so just trying to stay calm and cool and not let my presence bother her.
I've now done it twice. I did it with my son, and I did it with Mia, both of whom are now drivers out on the open highway. And it does require patience unknown to mankind. It really does. And you're going to yell because of the safety element. You're going to yell a lot because their closing speed and their understanding of leaving some space between you and the car in front of you is a little lacking at first. But it's a learning experience for all of us.
Yes, sir.
And speaking of that, I hope you guys learned today through Jimmie's conversation with Jonathan and his vulnerability. And we're going to talk about Blaze next week. We got to hop for now, but we love you, buddy, and we miss you. And this is
Without
Never
a doubt.
Settle. Have a great week, everybody. Cheers.
Thanks, everybody.